And so I want to read just a little bit of it. Currently serving as a trustee, Mr. Pevec joined the fire company as an engineer on June 13, 1967. Throughout his tenure, he has made himself available at all hours of the day and night, often at great personal risk, to protect the lives and property of those in his community. Mr. Pevec is a sterling example of the most cherished traditions of duty, sacrifice, and citizenship, and deserves our utmost heartfelt gratitude. So that's from Jonathan Fritz, and he's apologizing. But we do have our Senator Lisa Baker is here, and so she will present you with her citation. We were so glad you could make it tonight.
Hi, everybody. I have to say, it's such an honor for me to be able to take a little bit of time and acknowledge what I consider the trusted advisor and individual who serves their community in this way. And when I think about what you all do, we don't say thank you enough. We know that you're called out in the middle of the night at birthday dinners, on a holiday, that you have to take a lot of time away from your family to train. You have to raise money, you have to raise money, you have to raise money. And so I just wanted to be here and acknowledge that for 50 years of dedicated service, it's really important for us to say thank you, how much we value and respect the job that you've done. And so I have a beautiful citation from the Senate of Pennsylvania. I won't read the whole thing, the whereases and the therefores, but whereas the well-being of the citizens of this Commonwealth are safeguarded by the men and women of the fire units throughout Pennsylvania. They serve around the clock every day of the year with unwavering commitment and dedication, and are routinely called upon to perform extraordinary acts which are often taken for granted despite the risks that so regularly attend the discharge of your duties. I won't say when you started, but I just want to say, you know, how much Pennsylvania has benefited from our volunteers. And at one time, we had 300,000, and now we're down to about 50 to 60,000. And if our communities had to pay for the service that you provide, it would be $6 billion across the Commonwealth. $6 billion. So I'm just here to say thank you. Thanks for all you've done and all that you give promise of continuing to do, because you're not giving up, right? So my honor to be with you and celebrate and honor you. Congratulations.
Are you able to stay for cake and ice cream? A couple minutes? You able to stay a little bit? Okay, good. All right, Josh, you're next.
We always looked at your old Gentex watch. So we figured we'd upgrade you with a new one. So that's all you. I hope you put it on, and or you leave it in the closet.
Does this make on?
This one's special though. This one's special.
This one's engraved on the back.
It'll work.
Okay.
All right. But,
it can go in a frame, Jeff.
You say that's going to fit my wrist, huh?
oh, we might shrink it out a little bit. But we can get it adjusted.
Yeah, we'll get it.
We can adjust.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you, Jack.
Okay. And Dave has some remarks to make.
Oh, God.
We just go for the cake and ice cream. I should really phone this in. I call this a tribute to Jack Pevec. And I had to write this because it's going to be tough. I've known Jack, as you'll recall in this article, no matter what his family says, since I was about 5 years old. I grew up next door to him on Front Street, and as life would have it, I I'm now living across the street from him again, so I guess life does go around in circles. I'll reflect on Jack's fire service career. I will not mention the times me, him, and Sid tripled with the girls for the prom. I won't mention our trips to Coshocton. I won't mention the cabin up at Upper Woods. I won't mention Old Hill and Herrick Center. I won't mention a case of beer he left for me and Sid when he was home on leave. I won't mention the gas station. I won't mention raiding gardens. I won't mention the time his older brother, not Albert, told me to put a tar ball in my pocket of my jeans, and Jack thought it was funny. My mother did not. I won't mention Foster's pool room. Oh, I did mention that. I wasn't going to mention any of this, but I can go on and on, now that the statute of limitations have expired. Jack started his career with Browndale Fire Company back in the 60s, under the old regime of Hap, Moon, Johnny Glenniker, Jimmy Dovin, Eddie Wallace, Mike Wallace, Hank Cebulski, Frank Bedeen, and a few other, how I have it termed, characters. How Jack made it through those guys is beyond me. He was a fish in a big pond. Once the 70s rolled around, the younger group of wise asses started to set up. Me, Shivitz, Jack Dombrowski, Tommy Luba, Joey Cebulski. And I think Jack fit right in with our group at our age. We were all about the same age. In the mid-70s, I was made chief, and I immediately turned to Jack to be my chief engineer, or at that time we called him the chief driver. Well, driver wasn't the word to be used. He not only drove, but he was the first one at the old firehouse whenever there was an alarm. Jimmy will attest to that. Now to add insult to that, I lived upstairs in the firehouse, and he'd still beat me to the fire engine. I only had to go down 13 steps, he had to come up 4 blocks. How the hell he did it, I don't know. Whenever we needed anything, and I mean anything, Jack was the go-to guy. If he could be made, he would make it. If it could be fixed, he'd fix it. If it had to be stolen, well, that's another story. Jack took on a project to refurbish and paint the old Dodge. We remember that very well. Between him and his relative Paul Anderson, to transform the 51 Dodge to a real beautiful fire engine. New paint, new lettering, and even Paul came up with the logo of Keep on Pumping. And he did all that in his garage down at the house. In that era, we got the likes of Jimmy Richards, Goose Down, Earl, Zig, and a few others, the Flying Lazzolini brothers, Bobby Wirtz, and Jack withstood that generation, which was a lot to be said, and remained as the main man as far as the fire trucks were concerned, but it didn't stop there. Anything needed to be done at the hall, picnic grounds, the truck room, Jack always had a solution. He had a game plan or two to make sure the job was done right. Next came the big step. Get rid of the 2-story Impala, the old Chevy, and we bought a new fire engine. Jack was instrumental with me, Jimmy, Earl, in specking out the new engine. Between me and him and Jimmy and Earl and Goose and a few others, we brought home the White Whale. A new era for Browndale Fire Company. A new engine with big payments. But Jack made sure everybody knew that engine in and out. Jimmy will attest to that. He personally took a lot of our current pump operators and trained them on workings of that engine. Then there was the era of Greg, Josh, Shitter, Boy, Big Z, and John Leck. And that was the moment the gray started in Jack's beard. Now today he deals with the Josh, the Shitters, the Bockies, the Rickies, the T-Macs, and the rest of the young lads that make up Browndale Fire Company with the patience and expertise he's known and shown all along in his 50 years with the fire company. As time went on, Jack continued his service with the fire company, making sure we had anything we need to get the jobs done, and as years passed, as we are now, Jack took an overview role as a trustee of the organization, the office that he still holds today. His knowledge, cooperation, and enthusiasm, and a love for the fire company and fire service has been shown for the last 50 years. And with that, thank you. Congratulations. Let's go.